First Peter does allude to the idea that Jesus went to the other side of Sheol as well and preached to them as well, like those not handpicked by God before, but who may not have been unable to be saved. Okay, they're saying that Jesus went to the bad part of Sheol, where all the punished people go, those not awaiting salvation, and he preached the gospel to them. And maybe they were saved. Well, the problem is that Jesus debunks this very quickly, but let's talk about the passage that they're bringing up. First Peter chapter 3, it makes a reference to Jesus in Sheol, in the underworld, in hell. Starting in verse 18, it says, "For Christ also suffered once for sins, the righteous for the unrighteous, that he might bring us to God." So he suffered for our sins. This is not talking about hell. The very next portion of the sentence tells us exactly what that suffering was. Being put to death in the flesh, but made alive in the spirit. So he was still alive in his spirit, but his body was dead. That's exactly what it's talking about. Verse 19, "In which he went and proclaimed to the spirits in prison, because they formerly did not obey when God's patience waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was being prepared, in which a few, that is 8 persons, were brought safely through the water." He's making a reference to Genesis chapter 6, where it talks about the sons of God found the daughters of men to be beautiful, and they cohabitated with them and created what we know as the Nephilim. What Peter's saying is Jesus went down and preached to those fallen angels. But why would he do that? It didn't say he preached the gospel. It just said that he proclaimed to those spirits. He proclaimed his victory and their judgment. Their judgment was sealed. Their judgment was final. These are not spirits of people who never had a chance. These are the fallen angels who tried to usurp God's gospel by creating an unredeemable race of half demon, half men. And Jesus is going down there saying, you failed. The gospel's accomplished. It is finished, as he said on the cross. So how do we know that people down in Sheol can't be saved? He said as much in the parable of the rich man and Lazarus. The rich man wanted Abraham to send Lazarus back up to his brothers so that they might be spared this punishment. Abraham's response is, they have the scriptures. That should be enough. If they don't believe the scriptures, they're not going to believe it even if someone comes back from the dead. It's all about what's in the heart. This is what the Bible constantly tells us, is that there's evidence of whether you're saved and whether you're not. And if you don't believe based off of the evidence you have, you're not going to believe even if you're given more evidence. It is a choice. It is faith. That's what it's all about.